Brad says they all got on with Ayub and Rocket. We went to sleep and the following day we went for some breakfast. They went to the music festival later that day that was due to start 10 p.m. that night. The coroner asked Brad what they did at the festival and he says, drinking and dancing like you would do at a rave festival. And taking substances, no doubt. He's not going to say that to the coroner, is it? Well, yeah, drinking, dancing and taking illegal substances, Your Honour. But yeah, it just will have been one big party, won't it? So after the spending the night at the rave, Brad and Jay went back to their apartment at Paloma Beach and went to sleep in their clothes because we were really drunk. The following day, we had a pool party thing at the hotel. And then that same day, we had a do again that night. I mean, I'm just glad that Jay had a good time. If that was at least, you know, it might have been the last good time he ever had, which is terribly sad, but at least he did have a good time from the sound of it. So this was our first boys' holiday. We might have taken it a bit too far. And Brad is asked how Jay behaved on the holiday and how much he drank. And Brad says, well, it was our first holiday as a boys' holiday, so we might have took it a bit too far. Well, they obviously did take it too far. There wouldn't be young people if they didn't take it too far. You're not going to go out at 19 on your first boys' holiday or, well, first friend's holiday and not take it too far. I mean, just not, are you? That's just the way it is. And, you know, people might look at older people and think, oh, they don't understand. We've all done it. We've all done it. I've done it. People older than me have done it. Just what young people do. And you know what? They've done it since time immemorial. They haven't just started doing it now. Maybe now they go further afield and do it, like to go to Tenerife. When I was young, people did go on foreign holidays, but it wasn't so commonplace as now. Probably would have gone to Blackpool and done it then, or Manchester town centre. You know, let me just check you're all okay in chat. Brandon. Yeah, no, Brandon's not there. I think Brandon gave his evidence at the last one, I think. Hi, Vicky. Hi, Carl. Yeah, I'm on Lancashire Live, Carl. This is Lancashire Live that I'm on, but thanks for that. So what happened the day before Jay Slater went missing? Brad says that on the 16th of June, the day before Jay went missing, the group went out for drinks at about 6 p.m. and then met with Brandon and Lucy to go to the music festival. We were together all evening until we got to the festival when we split up because it was so busy. Brad says. Then Brandon says, Jay has been kicked out. I have gone out to try and get him back in, but they wouldn't let him back in. I don't remember hearing that before. So Jay apparently was so drunk he couldn't stand up. Now we could see that on that video. I might show that again in a minute. Inside the club, Jay was so drunk he could not stand up. But when the group met up outside, he was in a better state, Brad says. He wasn't as bad as when we were inside. Inside, everyone is clamped together and you get out. Probably the fresh air, probably when they went outside, maybe the fresh air made, maybe the fresh air sort of cleared his head a bit. Now let's just have a look. So we've got that video of him in the club. That was him out at the pool, but yeah. So this was the video of him at the club at that. So you can tell he is really out of it. But I'm surprised that they throw people out who are out of it, because surely nearly everybody in that festival is out of it. But yes, he was stumbling a lot, wasn't he? And but he's having a good time. So that's what Brad's saying. He was out of it, but then when they got outside, he seemed a little bit better. Look, he nearly falls over there, but then he recovers and carries on. Yeah. So Brad says he was so drunk he couldn't stand up in the club. So Jay Slater's pal reveals the extent of the drug taking on their trip. Brad says that Jay had taken ecstasy, so he does admit he'd taken ecstasy. Remember, this is all in his bloodstream as well. So the toxicology tests that were taken show that he had taken ecstasy and cocaine on the night of the 16th. Brad says he had also taken ketamine on the holiday. I mean, that's, he's lucky he didn't die of a drug overdose, really. I mean, that's it's a combination of drugs, isn't it, with alcohol and probably no food. But Brad isn't sure if he had taken it on that night. But Brad said Jay would be a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10 of drunkenness. So I think we can all agree he was in a pretty bad state, wasn't he? So just a reminder to people coming in, I should put it on a banner, so that people, get constantly updated. Brad is there. Lucy's going to appear on Video Link. Ayub's going to appear on Video Link. Debbie, Jay's mum, is there with her partner and also a barrister and also a documentary film crew. Warren is there with Zach, Jay's brother. Rocco can't be found. Won't be appearing, but Ayub is going to appear on Video Link. Who else? That's it, I think. In fact, I'm going to tap that into a banner so that it constantly shows at the bottom, because, as people come in, who may have missed. Let's have a look. So, create a banner. I'm going to create a banner. So, right, so I'm going to put this information on a banner so that I don't have to keep repeating it as new people come in. There you go. Right, let's have a look if there's any updates on the other. I'm just going to put a few windows down. Oh, right, so something a bit different on So this is, gosh. So Bradley, and this reporter, this is the Lancashire Telegraph, and they refer, every time you see BG, that's Bradley. So, coroner, how long have you known Jay, and how did you first meet? BG, met him through another mate at the start of high school. Coroner, I understand you and Jay were staying together. Yes. Lucy Law staying in another flat. Yes, but she travelled with us. Brandon Hodgson in a third flat. He was living there. When you arrive, you land at 2 a.m. You took a taxi to the Las Veronicas area where you went drinking. We went to the apartment first, then we went straight out. Oops. When you went out, you were introduced to a couple of men you had not met before. Yes, we met Ayub Kazim and Stephen Rockus. Were there any problems in the group? No, we were all happy. You integrated with their group, you got on okay? Yes. What time did you go back to the apartment? About 6 a.m. We went to sleep, and the following day we had a festival. We went for some breakfast, chilled all day, and went to the festival. Then Aidley says, you're going to have to bear in mind I've never been to a rave festival. That probably won't surprise you. You'll have to fill me in on some of the details. That's fine. When you go to one of those raves, you drink quite a lot? Yes. On the next day, you attend a party at noon till about 6:30. Yes, there was a pool party at hotel. That same day, we had the other do again that night. On this occasion, on the 14th, you were with Jay, and on the 15th too. When he goes to one of these parties, how does he behave? How much does he drink? A normal amount. On the 15th, you were more reserved, didn't drink as much. During the day we didn't, but that night was probably when we drank the most. On the 16th, you went out around 6 p.m, the day before Jay goes missing. You meet Brandon and Lucy, then you go to the festival. How much contact did you have with Jay on that evening? We were together on that evening, but it was that busy we all got split up. God, he must be a very quick typer, this guy. How's he managed to type all this as it's being said? Do you know what he was doing that evening? Brandon said Jay had been kicked out, so I went to get him back in. I stayed with him for a bit, then Lucy came out. What time was that? I don't know. What state was Jay in when he got outside? He wasn't as bad as he was inside. Inside, everyone was crammed together and it gets hot, but outside he was better. What's he like to talk to at that time? He was still under the influence, but we could still talk to each other and have a conversation. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how drunk was he? Maybe a 6. Now, of course, I think as well that it's everybody's, when he said to him, how much had he drank or whatever, and he said a normal amount. Of course, everyone's idea of normal is different, isn't it? Some people can have 2 beers and they're wasted. Other people can, drink quite a lot. So I think that's quite relative, to be honest. Do you know if he took any drugs that evening? Yes. Do you know what? Maybe ecstasy pills. I think he knew exactly what he took. Did Jay take any ketamine? On the holiday, yes, but I don't know if he did that night. What about cocaine and alcohol? Yes. How was he behaving? If you'd sent him to the supermarket with a shopping list, would he have come back with everything? No, definitely not. Sorry, it's just my sense of humour there, because if he's a man, he's still, even whether he was drunk, sober, had a shopping list, whatever, he still wouldn't have come back with everything. Men don't, do they? Sorry, men. in terms of Jay, he can stand, he can talk. Is it going to be well thought out talking or social chit chat? Yes, social. You know, he's a 19-year-old lad out with his mates. He's not going to get into a deep discussion about the meaning of life, is he? Did you go back into the club at all? Yes, when Lucy came out, I went back in. Lucy said she came out of the club at about 3:24 a.m. Would that fit with your sort of timescales? Yes, I think so. So you get to Sugar Reef. Are Ayub and Rocco still there? I can't remember. They didn't go to any of the festivals. They were just on the strip every time we saw them. So so next conversation. You say at 5:30 Jay sends you a Snapchat saying he's going to be sleeping at Ayub's place. And Bradley says that wasn't his first Snapchat. What was the first one? Something about a watch. What was it about the watch? So there's all this about this watch, isn't there? That he'd taken a watch, but I can't remember what else. I didn't think anything else of it. That seems strange, doesn't it? Because surely if your friend told you he'd taken a watch, wouldn't you be interested? But anyway. Did Jay appear to be frightened or worried about anything at any time you were with him? No. From the tone of the Snapchat, did you get any sense he was in trouble? No. Was there anything else before the one he says he's going with Ayub and Rocco? No. You say it's around 5:30. Jay called you through Snapchat to say he'd be staying. You said you were worried and you told Jay you'd stay awake and wait up for him. We were with these lads for 3 days, so I trusted them. I didn't think anything of it. You stay up and watch TV, but then it jumps to 8:30 a.m. when you get a video from Jay. Was there anything you recall from around 5:30 to 8:30? We were talking back and forth. He was showing me a bed they'd made for him at their apartment. Was it a bed or something makeshift? I think he was just on the sofa. Did Jay appear to be upset at any point? No, not at that point, but he said he was going to come back down. Gosh, come back down. And that's what he tried to do, I think. So that's as far as it's got on there. I'll just come back in the chat, make sure you're okay. Yeah, I don't know, Pam, about the timestamps. Yeah, it says 12:27 p.m. on that last one, but that's more like, could be Spanish time, because don't forget I'm looking from Spain. I'm going on this website from Spain, so it might put the hour on. So that 12:27 p.m. might, because I'm looking at this website from Spain, which is an hour in front. So that could be why. So just to say, Charlie's sexy. It's true though. You know it's true. You know that it's true. Bye, Alfie. So this is going to go on quite a long time. So there might be a few of you coming in and going out. So I'll try and remember to say goodbye or hello or whatever. But if I don't be insulted. So let's see what Lancashire Live makes of that. So that was the Lancashire. Right. So Jay was so on the Lancashire Live, it's got the proper timestamps on it, 11:27. I think on that other one that I was on, it was given the Spanish time. Anyway, so Jay was giddy. We were just having a laugh. Brad says Jay was giddy. we were both just having a laugh with each other. He says that Lucy came out of the club at around 3:25 a.m. and the group then went to a club called Sugar Reef. Ayub and Stephen weren't with the group in the festival, as Brad says they didn't come to the festivals. And then Jay sent this Snapchat to Brad saying taking a watch. He then sent another Snapchat to Brad and he said he was going back to Ayub's and Stephen's Airbnb. And he said he trusted them. He didn't worry about him going back with them. Now, then, this is that Snapchat call where he apparently was walking down the road. So I don't know if you remember. God, my voice is going to give out. But this is what's always been said, that the first time Jay Snapchatted, called him, he was laughing and joking, oh, look where I am. And, and he told him to get a taxi, didn't he? That this is what was said previously. He said to him, get a taxi. And I don't know if he had no money, but they said they would pay for it when he got home. That's what you'd tell him, wouldn't you? Just get a taxi. And even if you didn't have any money, you'd say, just get a taxi, get out there, get home safe, and we'll sort it out. With the taxi driver, we'll go to the cash point, or we'll get your mum to send the money or whatever. So he said he was walking down the road and he said, I'm going to come back. And Brad says, at that point, I might have been feeling a bit worried. He said, I'm going to come back down. And he was asking if we had any drinks left at the apartment. So he still wanted another drink. That's it when you're on holiday, when you're 19. God, I would have just, collapsed at the roadside by now. So going back to the subject of the watch, it's been widely reported that Jay had admitted stealing a Rolex watch. However, Brad says, I didn't think anything of it because there are a lot of people selling fake stuff on the strip, loads of watches. God, I wouldn't have a Rolex watch if you paid me. There's always someone trying to steal it or problems with it. So in the video, Brad says Jay was wearing shorts and a T-shirt. He told Jay to check the maps on his phone to see how far away from the Paloma Beach apartment. He said 14 hours walk or an hour's drive, that must be. I said, wow, why are you so far away? Get a taxi back. He then said, I'll ring you back. And that was the last time I spoke to Jay. And another thing that I think people rely too much these days on their phones, like, for locations and finding your waypoint. They ask Siri for everything, or, years ago, I think probably wouldn't have even attempted to make that walk because you wouldn't have been able to look on your phone how far away it was. And maybe when he looked on his phone, it didn't show all those ravines and everything. It just showed, you could see from the coverage I've seen of that. I thought straight away he thought he could just walk across there. There was that dip, wasn't in the middle where the sea was. I think Jay was just thinking, I'm just going to cut across there. Just going to cut across. That's where that's the sea, that's the beach, that's where my apartments are. It'd be easy. And of course, he didn't know what the terrain was in between. I honestly do believe that, but so let's have that on the Lancashire. Sorry, I didn't share with the Lancashire Live, but we're back to the Telegraph now. The next thing you get is a video call from Jay walking down the main road. Oops, where's that gone? What was it like? He was asking if I had any drinks left in the apartment. He said he'd ring me back, and that's the last time I spoke to Jay. Lucy spoke to him after. You said he was walking down the road and there were white blocks at the side of the road. Does that accord with your thoughts? How did he come across in the video? Still under the influence? He was a lot better, but he was definitely still under the influence. He was in a better way than when I saw him on the strip. And what sort of effect does the alcohol mixed with the drugs have on you? It's just a buzz. Does it make you feel more confident? Yes. In terms of your confidence, do you think about things carefully? Not when you're mixing with it with other things. Do you become more impulsive? Yes, I'd say so. So you can see where Aidley's going there. He's going towards the fact that Jay had this sense of omnipotence because he'd been drinking, taking drugs. He thought he could walk it easy. And that's probably true, to be honest. What was Jay dressed in? A grey and green set, shorts and a t-shirt. During the call, when you're talking to him, what did you tell him to do? I said, put your maps on to see where he was. It was a 14-hour walk or a 1-hour drive. So I said, get a taxi back. And then he said he'd ring me back. Do you know if he had money for a taxi? He did at the apartment, but they won't let you in the taxi without paying first. That must be just young people, is it? Is there any, they're probably used to people doing a runner. Is there any way that if he phones you, you can pay? I was under the influence as well, so we didn't think like that. That's a shame because I'm sure 100% you could. You could pay by Zoom or by over the phone, by card. I'm pretty positive you could do that if they would have thought about that. It's a shame, isn't it? But I didn't know that the taxi drivers wouldn't let you in unless you paid them first. And that must be just young people because that's never happened to me in Spain. You get in the taxi, you pay at the end, just like you do in the UK, or you used to. So during the period between 5:45 and 6:45 a.m., did you get any posts from Jay about watches? No. So the only one you got was the one you can't really remember? Yes. Did Joshua Forshaw mention any unusual messages he received? No. So did you know anything about knives down trousers? No. Has anyone actually, was that an actual photo that people have seen? Did anybody anywhere seen oh yeah, he's going to definitely it's going to be accidental death. He does ask leading questions. Oh, Charlie, the bank stopped his card. Has anyone actually seen that photo of the knives down trousers? Apparently Josh deleted it. Well, I don't necessarily think it existed then, because why would you delete it? Why would you delete it? Yeah, we don't know if Rachel is with Brad. Well, I don't know if Rachel is there with Brad. It's a shame we don't know anybody actually at the inquest. But this inquest, I mean, they didn't announce it with much warning, did they? Again, I think that's deliberate. But, Mr. Aidley, that's what he does. He is asking leading questions. It's going to be accidental death. 100% I could give you the verdict now. I remember watching the doing this same thing that I'm doing here with Jay Slater's inquest, and it's on my channel, the whole Nicola Bulley inquest. If you want to watch it from start to finish, I covered every minute of it. And I did know somebody who was there, a couple of people actually, that were sending me information and things people had said. And of course, it's been a while since then, and we've dissected it since. But from the first moment that Dr. Aidley said to someone he was talking to, one of the family, I think, he said, would you say Nicola was a holiday swimmer? A holiday swimmer. That's how he referred to it. And as soon as he said that, I thought this is going to be accidental death. Because why did he say that? What difference does it make whether she was a holiday swimmer or not? What the hell? Didn't matter if she was an Olympic swimmer or a holiday swimmer or she couldn't swim. She'd ended up in the water somehow. And he didn't know how she'd ended up in the water. So it should have been an open verdict. Doesn't matter whether she was a holiday swimmer or what she was. But as soon as he said that, I thought, this is where he's going with this. He's going to be called. He knows his verdict before he even starts his inquest. Dr. Adley. All this really, I mean, I'm sorry, but it is a bit of a, it's just grandstanding. It's just a show. He knows what his verdict's going to be. You could give the verdict now. His verdict is going to be accidental death. Could go on for 2 days, it could go on for 2 weeks. Dr. Adley is asking his questions geared towards the verdict he knows he's going to give. And he did exactly the same with Nicola Bulley. It's not right that, you know. And he did it with Becky Ramsey's case. With her son Dylan, she was trying to challenge the victim, so the verdict. So hers was a different case from Nicola's case, because Nicola's family wanted that verdict, didn't they? But with Becky Ramsey and her son Dylan, she wasn't happy. She knew it was going to be accident. He called accidental drowning on her son Dylan, but she felt there was more to it, and she felt there were questions. So she was like the opposite. She had questions, but he never gave her another chance like he gave Debbie another chance, because it didn't fit in with what his narrative was. So he got angry with Becky Ramsey, the mother of a dead child. So he got angry with her and practically threw her out the courtroom, because she wasn't sort of accepting his narrative. I mean, he's not, you know, to me, that's not what a coroner's about. A coroner is there to establish the facts, not there to go into it thinking, oh, I know what the verdict's going to be, but let's go through this charade of listening to all the evidence. But I know it's going to be accidental death anyway. So I haven't got any faith. I haven't got any faith in Dr. Adley. I think it would have been better with another coroner, one that's maybe not so fame hungry as well, you know, on the telly, and, you know, not so ego driven. It would be better. But anyway. Hi, Kylie. Who's at the inquest? Aldon. Who's Aldon? Sorry, maybe I'm being thick, but I don't know who Aldon is. Yeah, Teresa. Ada Lee is giving Brad the answers, guiding him. Yeah, I agree, Emma. They should have brought the new coroner in to do it with some, you know, with an open mind, as you say, setting the scene. And, you know, I do believe that, I mean, for what it's worth, I do believe that Jay had an accident. Personally, that's what I believe. But it's not about what I believe, it's about the facts. He said it was about the facts. But he's going into this with an agenda, with a narrative. You're supposed to go into an inquest, you know, with an open mind and establish the truth, aren't you? Just odd. You know, so anyway, what can we do? I have no idea. I don't know who Aldon is or Duncan. I don't, sorry, no offense, but we don't mention, all right. No, don't mention other YouTubers on my channel. That's one of the laws. Because I don't like to get into trouble. So I'm deleting his name. Sorry. Because I don't know who he is. 2, I never talk about other YouTubers on my channel because I don't like the drama that sometimes happens with other YouTubers. So it's just one blanket rule that I have. So it's no offense to him, whoever he is. I've no idea who he is. Or anybody, or to anyone who's mentioned him. You can say another podcaster or another YouTuber, but not names, please, because I will delete it. So just to avoid drama. Sorry, Teresa. No, I know. I asked who it was, and then I didn't have a clue. Julie, yeah. Ideally, it should be an open verdict. It should be, because, I mean, having said that, it sort of should be. But anyway, I don't know. I'm not saying that I don't think it should be an accidental verdict. What I'm saying is, it shouldn't be decided before you even hear from the witnesses. Do you know what I mean? It's like maybe after other people have listened to it, they'll think, oh yeah, it should be an accidental verdict. What I'm saying is, he's aiming it towards the, it's like if you sort of, you start off with a case and someone's guilty of murder, and you think they're guilty, so you're aiming the whole trial towards them being guilty. That's not the point of the trial, is it? The trial is to establish, you have to start on the premise that they're innocent. And then if you think they're guilty, you have to prove it. And that's the same with an inquest. Like when my ex-partner deleted himself, everyone knew it was self-deletion, or, we still had to have an inquest to establish it. And the judge had to, ask questions. I had to give evidence. Lots of people, it was very traumatic, but they have to prove that it was, you can't just say, oh, that's what it is. You've got to prove it, haven't you? So, yeah. Got to prove it. So, yeah. No names of the podcasters, please. I'll just delete it straight away, so it's pointless even putting it up there. No names, please. Okay, so he didn't mention anything to Brad about knives down his trousers. Were you present during any calls Jay made to other people? No, not that I remember. At any point, you with Jay or during calls, did you get the impression he was threatened or in a difficult situation? No. He's walking along the main road when you talked to him, and you knew he's gone to stay with Ayub and Rocco. Did he say why he'd left the apartment? And Brad says, because he wanted to come back to the apartment we were at to carry on drinking. I think he probably got where they were, sobered up, and thought, why have I come here? I think that's probably quite likely, to be honest. I've done that a million times years ago. Yeah, let's go that party and that. And then you get and you think, what the hell am I doing here? I should have gone home. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Anyway, so you didn't get the sense anything untoward had happened to make him leave? No. So again, it's the way he's asking the question. I'm not saying it's wrong to ask that question, but shouldn't you be saying just, why do you think he left? Why do you think he left? Do you think he was scared or worried? Not so you didn't think he was scared or worried. You're practically telling them the answer. Anyway. So Lewis Norris is asking Bradley. So this is the barrister. When you talk about going off to the festival and talk about Sugar Reef, where are they in comparison to each other? 3-minute walk. And where is Energy? They are different places. You told the coroner how Brandon introduced you to Ayub and Rocco. Had you ever met them before? No. There was a reference to somebody being introduced to you as Johnny Vegas. Is that Ayub or Rocco or neither? That's Ayub. Ayub mentions a Snapchat taken of him and Jay. Do you remember that? Yes, I took that. When you talk about the festival, when does it start? The day after we arrived. No, see, he's asking questions in a proper... That is a question. He's not saying, and the festival started on such and such, did it not? You know, he's asking him the question. Do you remember which night the Snapchat was? He's not saying, and the Snapchat was the Friday, wasn't it? You know, that's a leading question. He's asking proper questions. Then he has to lead it. You had met Ayub and Rocco at least once before then? Yes. He should have said, had you met? I should have been a lawyer, I think. Anyway. So at Sugar Reef, there was you, Brandon, Lucy and Jay, and Ayub and Rocco. There's a reference to a bottle of cognac being bought. That's at Sugar Reef before the festival. You then go to the festival, yes. Then that's when you learn Jay has been kicked out. A bit after, but yes. Lucy talks about Snapchat being sent to your location. Do you recall it? No, but I remember taking a screenshot of his location and sending it to Lucy. You go to the festival and then back to Sugar Reef, is that right? Yes. Do you remember if Ayub and Rocco were there the second time? Possibly, but I'm not sure. So Jay said, I'm going to stay with these. Who? Ayub and Rocco. You, Brandon and Lucy went for food. Lucy went to find Jay and didn't find him. You then found him on the strip straight away. Who with? I'm not sure. Do you remember seeing Jay on the strip? Yes. After that, you get a call from Jay saying he's staying with Ayub and Rocco's house. Do you know where that was? I didn't know until he turned his location on. From the point he's saying he's going, did he send you a location during the car journey? No. Are you sure? I'm sure. Do you remember any more than I'm going to their house? No. There is reference in your statement to people called Lyth and Leo. Do you remember Jay being with them? No. You told the coroner you got a Snapchat about a watch. When you spoke to Jay, had you seen that? No. Did you know anything about the watch when it was in the vehicle? No, apart from what that Snapchat said. When did you receive that? Before or after the call? I can't remember. Did you and Jay speak on the phone about that watch? No. The picture all over social media is the only one you saw of the watch, and there was no further discussion? Yes. You said that when he rang you, you were worried. Why? He said he was going to sell a watch, which isn't a great thing to do abroad. And why would you not ask him about it then? I was under the influence of drugs. I'm just coming back, make sure you're all okay. Hi, Lindsay. All okay? I think you're all okay. Yeah, I think the lawyer sounds quite good. Do you think? What do you all think? That's okay, no problem. It's good to, you know, he sounds like at least he's asking the right questions. And I expect Debbie and Warren, or just Debbie if he's employed only by Debbie, whoever's, you know, he's employed by, they'll have given him a list of questions to ask. It's good. Yeah, who's Lath and Leo? They're new, aren't they? Never had anyone mentioned called Lath or Leo. So when you have the video call when he's walking on the road, was he walking uphill or downhill? Downhill. Did you see a watch on the video call? No. Did Jay give you any reason he was going with Ayub? He said on the Snapchat he was going to sell a watch. So do you think he was going to sell them that watch? If there was a watch. Maybe they said they would buy it. Can you tell me everything you know about the watch? The Snapchat only. What did Brandon tell you about the watch? He didn't tell me. I've heard this, but he said he saw a watch. Is there anything further you want to say? Oh, I think personally, Brandon should be questioned further as he knows more about the watch. This watch keeps popping up, doesn't it? I've got to say, the watch